Why don't people get buried vertically instead of horizontally? We do it for a number of reasons. We put people to rest in their eternal resting place. In many cultures it's referred to as making their loved one's final bed. We rest lying down and therefore leave people to rest eternally lying down. It's also much easier and time efficient to dig a hole for a grave horizontally. Traditionally, we didn't have tools to help dig graves and therefore it was easiest to bury people horizontally. Lastly, when a dead body is vertical, it collapses and we don't view that as a nice or comfortable way to let our loved ones rest. Easier to dig a long shallow hole than a tall thin one. Death is an eternal sleep. You don't sleep standing unless you are a horse. Long shallow holes would be easier to dig. But I think a bigger reason for why we do it like this is so the person who is getting buried would appear like they're sleeping. Spiritually efficient is for sure one of the weirdest thoughts I heard in a while. What do you mean by that? Heads closer to ground level so you don't have to yell that loud or what? It for sure isn't more practically. It's by far more difficult to dig a 12 feet hole than a bigger 6 feet. Which would be necessary cause 6 feet is about the border where, among other issues, the smell doesn't get through and animals don't start digging for it. Just get cremated people. Do you really want to fork out on real estate for your corpse? Islamic communities in my area bury vertically. I'm not sure how that makes efficient, spiritually. You'd have to dig a much deeper hole. We're talking like 12 feet deep instead of 6 because the top of the head would still need to be 6 feet under to avoid animals getting to it. Cremation is better. On a purely anthropological point of view, dead people are often treated as sleeping persons in cultures that use ground burials. You want them to be in a comfortable position, both for them to rest and for you to have a nice memory of the last time you see them. Also, there are places where the plain land is so scarce that they actually bury their dead in vertical holes. I'd really like to know what kind of cultural influences this had on their view of the eternal rest. Disclaimer: I am not an academic. People who studied anthropology feel free to write a proper reply to my post. One of the members of Criss Cross died years back. His clothes were on backwards so they buried him face down. BCZ getting buried vertically is what life is. More room for other lifeless meat packages. But your question got me thinking. I would love a cemetery where it's just like Tetris. If the gravedigger can't bury them perfectly, they get fired and another one comes in, trying to bury the body in a zany and efficient way. Aside from everything mentioned here, it is super freaking difficult to dig a 3 by 2 by 12 foot hole with a shovel. My dad always tell me he wants to be buried horizontally with an orange tree seed so it grows and give us nice fruits, so maybe that is just a choice depending on people and socio-cultural habits. I'm not sure if I'd be able to handle seeing a coffin standing vertical during a funeral at a cemetery. In NYC, some cemeteries do bury upright to save space due to the condensed population there. Exclamation mark. One of my friends has a site which he uses for green burials. No coffins, though you can have a wicker basket if you like. Buried sitting holding your knees, and he'll put an acorn or other tree seed in your mouth or plant a sapling of your choice above you. COVID restrictions mean that I'm not currently in contact. He's off-grid. But that is what I want for myself. Go outside and try to dig a vertical grave with a shovel. That's why. I have asked myself this question often. It would be more efficient to bury a body if the soil was not rocky and an auger was used.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. TooAfraidToAsk is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.